She cut her political teeth as a powerful labor union leader in the region. He is a two-term councilman from Chula Vista. Now Lorena Gonzalez and Steve Castaneda are running against each other to fill the 80th Assembly District seat vacated by Ben Hueso, who was recently elected to the Senate. The region includes nearly 178,000 registered voters. The two candidates join me now. Lorena, let's start with you. The 80th District actually encompasses most of the southern region of San Diego County. You say that your top priority would be to create jobs for that region. How would you go about doing that if you were elected, and what kind of jobs do you envision?
Well, that's a great question, and I think that that's exactly what you started with, is what kind of jobs. We have the biggest land mass of land in the county that's zoned for industrialized use that can actually provide good jobs, but it's underdeveloped, and it's undeveloped now. And we need to figure out in our tax code how we align our tax code and our priorities tax incentives to develop the kind of jobs that we want, self-sustaining, good middle-class jobs. Right now, Walmart is the biggest recipient of enterprise zone tax credits. Walmart jobs probably are not the kind that are going to get the 80th Assembly District or anyone back on their feet and working on their own without welfare.
And in fact, those enterprise zones were not intended for companies like Walmart.
Absolutely not. They're intended to really bring in new types of jobs, manufacturing jobs, logistics, things that can provide families with just the very basics, so they don't have to rely on social services and welfare. And I think if we review our tax code and look at the incentives that we're currently providing, cut those that are unnecessary and even go against our public policy goals, and instead double up on those where we could bring in good jobs is one way we could do that.
Steve, you say that you're part of a group of moderate Democrats who are against onerous tax policies on businesses. Describe what you think is a fair tax policy for a business bringing jobs into a community, not just for the business, but for the community in which the business would reside.
Well, first of all, as a two-term city council member where I had to make a lot of decisions for our city and our community, for public safety, for infrastructure, for parks and recreation, for libraries, it's very it's clear that there's just not enough money to go around to do all the things the government needs to do. The fact of the matter is we can't tax ourselves into prosperity. We have the highest corporate tax, we have the highest personal income tax in the state, we have the highest sales tax, and starting in July we're going to have the highest gasoline tax, and we're still broke as a state. There's something wrong here. We need to look at how we're going to get these corporations, first of all, not to want to move out of California. Get a situation where we do look at the tax code and we look at things like the tax rate and incentivizing good paying jobs when people bring them
Lorena,
to our
I want to
community.
jump in. Let's talk about California being under this federal court order to release another 9,000 inmates from the prison system. As you know, part of this is because of just the poor health care and mental health care that inmates have received. If you were elected, what would you do to resolve this problem?
Well, first of all, I have to say it's a little disconcerting for me, and I think many people, to worry about the poor health care and mental health facilities for prisoners when that's a big concern for those of us who work hard and abide by all the rules out in society. So it's an interesting dilemma to be in. However, I think that realignment and how the governor has dealt with it might not be the best answer across the board. There are some things when you're truly non-violent, when you've been convicted of a non-violent offense, to readjust them back into society in a way that they're not going to reoffend is a good thing. And I think we need to do that. And we need to not put non-violent offenders in prison. However, I think also that if you look at the sexual predators who have been let loose, we've had an increase of 15%. 15% of fugitives who have committed sexual-based crimes who since realignment started. So we have to look at that and say there are some people who just belong in prison and we need to return them there.
And Steve, just sort of building on this topic, again, mental health services have been cut pretty severely over the past several years, and that's one of the reasons that some experts will say we have a broken prison system, we have so many inmates. Now that the California economy is rebounding, somewhat. Would you be in favor of restoring some of those mental health services that were cut?
Well, first of all, I think they need to be reformed. If you look at California and the cost of per prisoner for individuals that are in those programs, when you measure against some other states, we spend as much as 200 times more than other states do for the same services. So first of all, we have to look at the cost. But what we can't do is we can't let prisoners out and push them onto local systems who absolutely have no medical or health or mental health programs or services for these folks. It's been devastating for local communities. And as my opponent said, we're starting to see property crimes and personal crimes start to increase in our communities, and that's got to stop. And people have to be accountable for what they do. And if we need to, at least for the time being, look to other states to get additional prison space to house our folks that should not be on the street, then that's what we need to do. But we need to fix our system from a cost standpoint and also from who should be in prison and who should not be.
From prisons to schools, Governor Brown plans to send more money to schools who have a higher population of students from low-income families and for whom English is a second language. This has stirred some discontent among some school officials from more affluent areas who say, look, we've got to restore the cuts that were made over the last several years because of the recession before we decide on, revamping the budget formula. Where do you stand in this debate?
Well, although I do agree that we have to restore Prop 98 funding that was decimated over the last 4 years, I absolutely support Governor Brown's idea, and largely because the 80th Assembly District is disproportionately affected by this issue. The fact that so many, in fact, more than half of our kids who go into the school district go in with limited English proficiency. And as a result, we know that in those first few years, there is such a need to increase instruction, and that costs money. There has to be specialized instruction for folks to bring them up in the very beginning. And so I like his ideas. The one thing that I disagree with him on is the cutting of vocational education or not mandating vocational ed.
I want to give Steve a chance to jump in. What's your take on this issue?
Well, I think first of all, those of us that supported Prop 30 were hopeful that that was going to solve the problem, because that's what we were told by the governor, by a number of the leaders in the state, and my opponent. We were saying if you increase your sales tax and tax the most wealthy in our state, that we're going to have an opportunity to refund the schools and to bring them to levels that is going to allow them to provide the services. Yet that happened, yet we're still talking about the problems with funding with schools. I don't think taking from one school district and giving it to another is the right way to do it. I think all schools should be funded, and those that have special needs students, that those that have English learners need additional funding to do that. But we need to take the dollars that were created as a result of Prop 30 tax increases and focus it on those needs, and not to backfill teacher raises, which, at least in San Diego Unified, a large majority of those dollars have gone to.
And unfortunately, we have to wrap it up there. There's a lot more ground to cover. Steve Castaneda, Lorena Gonzalez, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
Thank you.